Trump has just announced that he will be awarding Rudy Giuliani the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He posted this on Truth Social over the weekend. As President of the United States of America, I am pleased to announce that Rudy Giuliani, the greatest mayor in the history of New York City and an equally great American patriot, will receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom, our country's highest civilian honor. Details as to time and place to follow. Thank you for your attention to this matter, MAGA. Okay, so it seems Giuliani is a candidate for this medal specifically because of the work that he did as the mayor of New York City surrounding the September 11th attacks. That's, I guess, the reason that they were giving for why Rudy Giuliani would get this medal. But of course, more recently, he has been a key part of Trump's legal team, an association that ultimately got Giuliani disbarred. So this announcement also came just as Giuliani was hospitalized after being involved in a car accident. So according to Michael Ragusa, who is Giuliani's head of security, he was transported to a nearby trauma center where he was diagnosed with a fractured thoracic vertebrae, multiple lacerations and contusions, as well as injuries to his left arm and lower leg. His business partner and medical provider were promptly contacted and arrived at the hospital to oversee his care. So he's said to be recovering very well from the accident, which is good. And Ragusa says that yes, this was just an accident. Let's not get too crazy. And maybe also don't look into it too much, because the story has a very interesting subplot. Prior to the accident, Giuliani and his driver, Theodore Goodman, were, quote, assisting a domestic violence victim. That's interesting. So according to reports, Giuliani and Goodman, they were flagged down by a woman on the side of the road who told them that she had been involved in a domestic violence incident. Goodman and Giuliani, being the good guys that they are, they called the police and they stayed with the woman until the cops turned up. They told the troopers what they knew and then they left. And just minutes after they left the scene, they were hit by a Honda HR-V. So, Cenk, they were flagged down by a woman on the side of the road. She was just standing there. She happened to flag down Rudy Giuliani and he had to stop, and then all this is happening now. This is a very strange story. I'm not trying to imply anything, but maybe you do.
Oh yeah, I want to imply something. Yeah. Okay, so look, the Presidential Medal of Freedom is debatable. He's not the worst recipient at all. I get, given that he was mayor of New York, it's not crazy. So I have less of a problem with that, right? I'll give you a little bit later a much worse recipient, right? But I think that they gave it to him in a panic because they thought he might die, honestly, from the car crash. I don't want him to die. I feel terrible about the car crash, and so. But overall, I'm not overly offended by the Presidential Medal of Freedom, especially because it's unfortunately become a joke because of Donald Trump. Again, for reasons I'll explain in a second. But I'm much more interested in the circumstances around the crash. So, a woman flags him down in the middle of nowhere. Imagine you're this woman, you're in despair, you're on the side of the road, and you flag down a car. And it coincidentally happens to be Rudy Giuliani. Okay, that is awfully peculiar, right? All right, then you get in the car and then you start telling him about, oh, I had domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, that's it, I'm gonna help you. And he's a hero and he calls 911 and he's just trying to help her in every way. And then he gets back on the road and boom, somebody smashes into him. Nah, something else happened. Okay, so is it possible for me to know what happened without knowing more of the details? Of course not. So are we left to speculate? Because that's not what happened. I mean, so the car crash, what? Okay, think about it, guys. He gets into a car crash, goes to the hospital. Why are we even talking about the woman? Like, if it's not related to the woman, why did you tell us that story? If you just had a rando car crash, okay, then it's a rando car crash, right? You're telling us about the woman because the woman is related to the car crash. And we're supposed to believe you picked her up on the side of the road and she had this giant drama that apparently you got embroiled in within a short period of time, and that's what led to the accident, and that's why you're telling us. Things that make you go, Usually you run into a woman on the side of the road for other reasons.
They really had to go out of their way to make it seem like Rudy Giuliani was the hero in this situation. Because yeah, like we didn't need to know anything about this woman on the side of the road, but they're like, oh, he was helping a victim of domestic violence. It's such a weird like PR spin to put on whatever was happening. Again, I'm not suggesting anything. Cenk is suggesting all the things, and I'll let him be the one suggesting things. But just an insane story. Like, just I don't know what to do with that.
Hey, listen. If you think pure thoughts and you think, well, of course, I always see distressed women by the side of the road, and then I get into a giant drama where I then get sent to the hospital over that woman, and that's normal, and that's what good Samaritans do. Okay, then that's what you think. If you think something else, I didn't say it. Okay.
This would only happen to Rudy Giuliani, though. Like that's what, like this whole thing is so insane, and it's like, of course, this would happen to Rudy Giuliani because Rudy's like the only person who would come up with a story, like a backstory to his car accident like this. Anyone else could have just been like, I got hit on the road. Like that happens. Accidents happen all the time. But with Rudy Giuliani, we get this whole weird story to go along with it because, of course, we do.
Yeah, and finally, why the Presidential Medal of Freedom doesn't matter anymore. It used to be our highest honor. In his first term, Donald Trump gave it to Miriam Adelson because her husband had given him $200 million in the last, or $100 million in 2016. At that point, it was only 100 million. By now, that family's given him 337 million through 3 campaigns. But they gave him 100 million. He moved our embassy in Israel because of them, and he says it. He made their corruption charges largely go away on a small fine, relatively small fine for that. So charges against them went away. Giant tax breaks for the Adelsons. He gave them everything. But to seal the deal, he's like, oh, you know that thing that was all about honor and sacrifice, and the thing that we give to the greatest Americans? I'll throw it in as a tchotchke. If you act now, you'll get this set of Ginsu knives and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And he did. He gave it to Miriam Adelson for nothing, just because she was, her husband was his top donor. So you give it to Rudy, sure, whatever. Doesn't mean anything anymore anyway, right? And Rudy, brother, even if you had issues like the one that I think you had, shh, no one would have noticed if you didn't put the super weirdo backstory about how you were this good Samaritan helping women all across the roads of America and getting in trouble for it. So a little sus, as the kids say.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just like, I'm so glad that we decided to cover this story because it was so ridiculous. And I remember like when I was producing it, I was like, what do I even do with any of this information and why has it all come out? But like at the end of the day, he's gonna get the Medal of Freedom. It's a done deal. It's just, time and place TBD. Also, thank you for your attention to like all of it's so ridiculous. So like this whole administration is so farcical that whenever Rudy Giuliani gets named as a recipient of the Medal of Freedom, it's like that's not even the big story. It's like this other weirdo part of the story is taking all of the glamour away from it because that part is not glamorous anymore. That part is not notable anymore because this entire administration is ridiculous. So this is the state of where we are today, which is fun for everyone.